Hello and welcome to this first podcast episode of Asakasa, wherein we will try to discuss some of the questions which are generally asked by youth and others regarding God, religion, faith, and their difficulties in life. So, joining me today is a student from Mumbai. Her name is Shaila Dimelo. Hello, Shaila. Thanks for joining us for this first podcast episode. Please do tell us something about yourself.
Hello, brother. Thank you for having me on this very first episode. My name is Shaila DeMello. I've completed my graduation in life sciences from St. Xavier's College, Mumbai, and currently I'm pursuing my master's in food nutrition and dietetics from College of Home Science, Nirmala Niketan.
That's wonderful, Shaila. Tell me, what do you do during your spare time?
I like to cook, and I have my own venture of donuts. So yes, I sell donuts.
Oh wow! So we have a scientist come cook today with us. So that's a wonderful combination, Shaila. So today we would like to look at this issue of the existence of an invisible God. So Shaila, what do you feel about this? Is there a God but we can't see him?
Brother, as you know, I'm from a science background. Hence, for everything, we require proof or experiment or something like that. But this topic, like, is God there? We don't really have a proof for this. Even my non-science friends sometimes do ask me, ki, like, you don't have proof, so how can you say there is God?
Right, very well said, Shaila. Actually, because this is something which always comes up. You can't see this God, but we know He's there, right? So this question is very tricky, and different attempts have been made at different points of time. To try to prove that there is a God and He exists, right?
Right.
Out of all these attempts which were made, one of the most prominent ones is one by Saint Thomas Aquinas, who gave us 5 ways. Have you ever heard of this wonderful saint called Saint Thomas Aquinas?
No, brother, I'm hearing it for the first time.
Okay, so Saint Thomas Aquinas was an Italian Catholic priest, okay, and a doctor of the church. He was a great philosopher and a theologian, and he proposed these 5 ways to prove that God exists by observing the world. Okay, so I'm going to tell you these ways, and at the end of it, you tell me if you are convinced whether there is a God. All right.
Okay.
So Saint Thomas Aquinas, he looked at the entire universe, he looked at the world, and he said that there has to be a God, or there has to be a being rather, who was the first mover or the prime mover who set everything in motion. There has to be a being who was the first cause of everything which is happening today, and this being would
Mm-hmm.
have to be independent. This being would not be dependent on something else. This being would be a
Yeah.
perfect being. There wouldn't be anything
Okay.
lacking in this being, and the most easy to understand that this being will be the intelligent designer of this cosmos. Like what I mean is when we look at the world around us today, okay, you look at the biggest things in the
Okay.
world, you look at the universe, you look at the planets, you look at the sun and the moon and the stars, everything seems to be going around in perfect harmony, just about perfect. And you look at the smallest things in this
Right.
world, like you look at our bodies, you look at the cells in our body, each and everything is perfectly designed. So when he looked at all of these factors, put it together, he said that there has to be one intelligent being who is designing this entire universe, who has designed this entire world, and this intelligent being is a God, and is God rather. So, what do you
Yeah.
feel? What is your personal opinion when you look at these, proofs, or when you look at the world around you? Do you think this world is a chance phenomenon, or there is an intelligent being involved?
For me, I think there is an intelligent being involved, but as I said earlier, being from a science background, what is the proof? I agree there is an intelligent being, but I haven't seen him, that there is no proof. So, how am I supposed to believe?
Right. Okay. So now we have made some progress over here. I can see that you are able to agree to a certain extent that there is an intelligent being. Okay. So now
Yes.
let us try to get to the proof part of it. Okay. Now, having given you this big history about Saint Thomas Aquinas and his 5 ways and everything, I will also accept here that these arguments are not foolproof. Okay. You can easily find it on Google
Okay.
that there are a lot of different arguments and a lot of different articles which are written which say that there are some of the other problems which are there with these arguments. Okay, so these are not a full and final kind of a thing, like these prove that there is a God. And
Right.
right. So what basically happens is that we will never be able to pinpoint and say that here is God or this is God. Because what we are talking about is a completely different reality. We are talking about a God that is beyond time and space. And if you are going to prove something, then you are looking at an entity that exists in time and space. And that is why it is always going to be difficult in your scientific terms, so to say, to give a very
Yeah, right.
concrete proof to say that yes, this is God. Because we are talking about something beyond time and space, and this is what I will, try to bring about more and more as we go ahead. So now coming to this
Okay.
point, okay, that we all know, okay, to a certain extent, people know that there is a God, but nobody can see him. Why do you feel that people still believe in a God when even though they
Right.
can't see him? Why? What do you feel? Why do people still believe in a God?
People still believe in God because they think that there is a ray of hope, because during the difficult times, in their sorrows, in their pain, they have somebody they can look up to. There is a
Right.
ray of hope.
And any
Yeah.
other reason why do you feel people believe in God? One thing is yes, that's true. It gives them some sort of an assurance, some sort of an hope. What other thing could be there? Do you think
I don't know.
tradition plays a role that you have been told that there is a
Yes.
God?
Yeah, definitely. That people have really accept, like, it is an accepted reality. People, even young children, for the matter of fact, from childhood, they have been told ki there is God.
Right. So all these factors put together, we tend to believe that there is a God. So to answer this question about why do we believe in a God when we can't see him, we need to look at a couple of things with a little bit more clarity. So I'll ask you a couple of questions so that we can able to
Okay.
understand this concept a little better. Okay. So let me ask you this. Now, you said that there is an intelligent being, there is a God from whom you get some hope, and your parents and everybody in the church have told you that there is this God. Okay, right?
Right.
Okay. So now you tell me, Shaila, how does this God look?
How does this God looks? As I
Yeah.
have seen in the church, the idol or the pictures of God, he is fair, he has beard, he has long hair,
Okay. And so he's fair. He has a beard is black or white.
in between.
Okay. So there's a beard in between black and white, and he has long hair and he's fair. Okay. Do you believe now this God, as you have described him, he will also be carrying a book, right, in which all your sins are written and all your good things are written. And when you die and you will go on the gates of heaven, they will look at this book and they will, say, hey, so Shella de Mello, positives 10, negatives 8. Okay, very good girl. So you go to heaven. Do you believe he has a book like this?
Uh, my personal belief, no, he doesn't have a book like this.
Okay.
But we, as I was a kid, parents or my teachers used to always tell me, don't do this or else God will punish you. Don't do this, God will punish you. He's looking after you.
Right, exactly.
So,
That's the
yeah.
point. That well, from right from childhood, we have been told some things about God. Like God is looking at you. Don't do this, as you said, right? So
Yeah.
what happens is we keep on developing images of God. As a God who is a punishing God, who is always judging us, is like a policeman. Okay, one more question, Shala. When are the times do you pray the most? What are the times that you have prayed the most?
Uh, During exams, or
Okay.
when I in my difficult times.
Okay, so let's look at the
Exams the
exams.
most.
Exams the
Yeah.
most, right? Exams and also the results, I suppose, right?
Yeah, yeah.
What do you generally pray? Like, let me pass in this exam, and I will, say this rosary, or
Offer
I
you,
will offer
yes.
you so many candles, or I will, do this thing
I
for
will
you.
stop eating this, I'll do that.
Yes.
In short, we bribe him.
Right. So what we do is we kind of treat him like a shopkeeper, no? That you give me
Yeah.
this and I will do this for you. Right? So this is what makes the whole concept very difficult. That this very narrow understanding of God, when we look at God in very limited terms, and that is what we need to begin to change. So we need to look at God as an omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient, a big God, and still this big God takes an interest in each and every human person. Though he is beyond time and space and matter, he is still with us, among us, interested in us. Now let's come to the second point. Okay, how do you communicate about a God like this? Who is big as at the same time very human. Okay, in a way, matter of speaking. So
Okay.
to bring over this point, I would like to mention this small anecdote that was given by a very famous Jesuit Father Tony de Mello in one of his books. So I'll just ask you this question. Okay, now imagine, Shaila, that there is a blind man in front of you. Okay, and this person has been blind from birth. All right. Now I'll give you a very simple task. You have to tell
Okay.
this. You have to tell this person how the color green looks like. Okay, you understood the question?
How? Yeah, how the color looks like to a blind person.
Yeah. Tell this blind person how the color green looks like. Just explain to him what is the color green. That's a simple thing to do.
Okay, so it is something soothing.
Okay. Soothing.
Uh, the the leaves of the trees are green in color.
Okay. Remember, this person is
No.
blind.
Yeah,
Okay.
but no, it's really difficult.
Right. So, this is what even he tried to, bring about that language becomes a big barrier actually, language. Because we are trying to explain a reality that is beyond time and space. We can't use our limited language and a limited terms. So when we can't explain a simple thing like what is color or what is a fragrance, we have to also begin to accept that it is difficult to explain what is God, right? Who's much, much beyond all these things. Let me, ask you one more question, right?
Okay.
Who all are there in your family?
I have my grandfather, my mom, dad, and my younger brother.
Okay, so I think your mom really loves you. You feel that?
Yes,
Okay. Now let me just probe a little bit on that, right? Why do you think your mom loves you?
because she takes care of me. She provides me with everything. All my expenses are being taken care of.
Okay. What if I tell you that she's doing all these things purely out of a sense of duty and there is no love actually?
No, it is not a duty. It is a love and affection she has towards me.
No, but why not a duty?
Because I
She's.
know,
How do you
I
know?
feel,
Tell
I
me.
because I can feel
Yeah.
the love.
Right. Right. Say that again. Say that again. What did you just say? Why
How
do you?
can I explain a emotion
Right. That is
that I
that.
feel, that I
That
feel?
you
Yeah.
feel the love, right? You feel your mother is loving
Yes.
you, and it will be different
Yes.
if you were admitted in a hospital and if there were a nurse there. I don't think you would get that
True.
same kind of a feeling, right, which you get from your mother while you're at home,
Right.
right? That
Right.
is the important part that we need to understand. That the whole aspect of an experience, and as you rightly mentioned, an emotion that is involved, and the feelings which are involved, right?
Yeah.
Now we looked at your mother, right? Now let's try to bring in God into the picture. So if I tell you that there is a God who loves you, how do you think you can experience this God?
So you mean to say that we need to change our concept of God? We are looking for a wrong God, in short. We need to change our concept. Is it what you meant?
So you're right, you're on the right track. Okay, so with this changed understanding of God, now that make this God a big God, okay, the creator God who has created everything but still loves Shaila. How will Shaila experience this awesome God in her day-to-day life?
It is based on my own personal experience, right?
Right. So how do you feel, like, where will you find God?
Where will I find God in a person?
Okay. What
Or
else could it be?
what else could it be? I can find it in anything, any small thing as well, living, non-living.
Exactly. That is what, now once our concepts of God begin to change, how we are going to find God will also begin to change, right? And that is the beauty of the whole thing of Ignatian spirituality about finding God in all things. So when we look at God as somebody who is interested in me, who loves me and is there in my day-to-day life, okay, then you will be able to see him in the small things in your life, as you correctly mentioned, in your friends, in your family. You will find him in your emotions, you will find him in your thoughts, you will find him in the actions, your motivations. But
Yeah.
if you go through your entire day, and if you just observe your feelings, what were those moments which made you happy? I'm sure that, with time passing by, you'll be able to see traces of this God who was there with you, who protected you, who took care of you over and over again. While you were going about your day to day duties, this God was present with you. But this is going to
Okay.
happen when you will sit quietly at the end of the day, or more times if possible, and at least for 5 or 10 minutes, just sit quietly. And when you go through your day and you ask yourselves, what were those moments when I felt at peace? What were the moments when I laughed? What were the moments when I cried? And there you will gradually begin to see that there is a God who is speaking to you in the silence of your heart. This is the most I can do to explain to you. Like when I asked you, tell me why your mother loves you, right?
Yeah.
So it is going to be difficult for me to explain to you how you're going to find a God, by just sitting quietly on your bed and trying to look at your day. But try it out, and then,
Okay.
like your mother loving you, that experience, you will, I'm sure, get this experience of a God loving you as well. Okay. Now let's look at this entire discussion that we've had about it. How do you feel now about this topic of a God whom you believe in, but you can't really see? How would you summarize now?
I have got clarity in some areas, but not 100% because I have
Okay.
my own doubts in some area. But I'm happy, not 100%, but 50-60% I got clarity.
Okay, so I think 50-60% is a good start. So I've at least passed the exam.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, Shaila. So thank you very much for joining us today on this first episode. And as you said, it's very correctly said, there are always going to be doubts, right? Because we are looking at
Correct.
something that is beyond us, and it is not possible for us to completely grasp God. But if we are able to make an effort and give him a try to reveal himself to us, I'm sure that is going to go a long, long way. So thank you, Shaila, again very much for joining us, and we wish you all the very best in your studies and especially in your donuts. We look forward to having more of those. Okay, so thank you very
Thank you,
much.
brother. Thank
Thank
you, brother,
you.
for having me on this first episode. And also, I would like to say your YouTube channel, Jesuit Adventure, is doing a good job. The youths are really coming forward and expressing their views. It's really inspiring. Yeah, thank you so
Yeah,
much.
thank you. Thank
Excel in
you.
your work. Thank you.
Thank you, Shaila. Thank you. God
Yeah,
bless you. Take care. Bye bye.
bye.
That was the first episode today, and I'm sure that there would be some things that you would have got from this. As Shella said, not all our doubts are going to be clear, but definitely there is more clarity. Look forward to some more episodes wherein we'll try to look at some more deeper issues. Who is this God? How do we look at God and science? How do we look at a life? How do we look at relationships? Thank you. Take care. Bye bye.